So several years ago, I decided I wanted a puppy. So I traveled about, it was probably 3 hours, and got the last of the litter of Brittany Spaniels. He was the runt, but we bonded right away, and I think he was about 9 weeks old at the time. And for that first year, he was my shadow. He went everywhere I went. We did everything together. And then about a year later, I figured since I was at work, he was alone at home, that he needed a buddy. So again, I traveled about 2.5 hours away and got a Springer Spaniel puppy. I think he was about 9 weeks at the time, and he also was the runt of the litter. And the same thing, we bonded right away, and the Brittany was named Axel, and the Springer, named Oliver, but called him Ollie for short, they became thick as thieves. They were like brothers. And they just loved being together, and they did everything together. And wherever I went, they went. They wanted to be with me, and I'd go outside, they'd be outside. I'd go for a walk, they wanted to go for a walk. So even in the house, they would just follow me around. So I know you all who have dogs, they're more or less like your children. They're part of the family. And they looked up to me as their father. I was their leader. Now, Axel, the Brittany Spaniel, he was so smart. Smartest dog I've ever owned. So smart. And Oliver, we called Ollie, he was a snuggler. He wasn't as smart as Axel, but he could hold his own, but he loved to snuggle. Axel, not so much. Axel was definitely more active than Ollie. But those two, they just loved spending time together. Now, at the time, I had 8 acres, and the house sat 250 feet off of the road, so we had a big front yard. It's about 400 feet wide, but most of the yard was in the back. And I put in one of those automatic dog doors, and they would wear a collar. And once they got so close, the door would open up so they could let themselves in and out. And I had a small fenced in area that they could go in and out of when I was away at work. When I came home, if I was outside, they wanted to be outside, and I let them just run free. They always stayed in the yard. They never went towards the road. And it was fine like that for a couple years. Until one day I came home from work, and I noticed this big dog down at the bottom of my property. And it was just standing there looking at me. And I just got the weirdest feeling about this dog. Like it was it was evil. Now I know that sounds terrible talking about a dog, but that's just the feeling that I got. So went inside, and normally Axel and Ollie were raring to go. They wanted to go outside right away because throwing the ball, throwing the frisbee, they could chase each other. And I didn't let them go out for, it was about a half an hour, because I just did not like this feeling that this dog was giving me. It was just giving off these bad vibes. Something about just the way it looked at me. So I did some tours inside. They were wanting to go outside. And about a half hour went by, and I went outside. I left the dogs inside. I went outside. I looked all around, checked to see if this dog was anywhere around. I didn't see it. I walked up to the road, didn't see it. Walked all the way to the back of the property, didn't see it. So I went back to the house and I let him out. And I needed to do some work down at the garden, which was at the back of the house, kind of like on the back left corner of the house. And they both followed me down there. And out of nowhere, Ollie takes off running up through the front yard. And I knew right away what it was. I knew that this dog had come back down and Ollie was chasing after this dog. Now, because of where the garden was, the house kind of sat up on a hill and the hill kept going up towards the road. And once Ollie got around the corner of the house, I couldn't see him anymore. So I'm calling for him to come back. I'm calling for him. And I take off running right away because I don't know how I knew, but I just knew that our car was going to be coming down the road, which our road was very rural. There weren't a lot of houses. And we didn't have much traffic at all. I mean, you might get 1 or 2 cars an hour on that road. But I just had this feeling that he was going to chase this dog across the road and something bad was going to happen. So I took off running up around the corner of the house. I heard brakes squealing. I heard crunching. I heard a dog being rolled underneath the car. And I'm still running up to the hill and I couldn't see either dog. I get closer to the road and by this time the car had stopped. The guy was getting out of the car and Ollie crawled out from under the car and was just screaming. I mean, it was screaming. It was horrible, and I'll never forget the sound of him crying. And he came up over the bank. I got there about the same time, and I could see that his right front leg was mangled. It was just dangling as he was trying to hop up this bank, and it was just dangling. So I got to him and I laid him down on his side and just told him, just, be calm, you're okay, everything's going to be okay. And I could tell that his leg was just in really bad shape. So we rushed him to the emergency vet. They were able to put a splint on it, but that was all they could do. That I needed to take him to a specialist to see what could be done about his shattered leg. He came back home the next morning. I took off work and brought him home the next morning, and he was so drugged up. He was in so much pain. And we had to wait, I think it was 5 or 6 days. We had to wait to get him in to see a specialist about an hour and a half away. So we got in, they looked at the x-rays, and they looked at him and they said, you can spend $30,000 if you want, and we will try to put rods and pins and all this stuff in his leg, or for about $8,000 we can amputate. And there was a 50-50 chance that if we did have the surgery done, that they were going to have to amputate regardless. So he was young, he was 2 years old, and they said that they bounced right back from something like that. It's not like a human, when they lose a limb, it takes years and years to recover, that they would bounce right back. So I made the decision that the best for Ollie would be to amputate. So we had that done, and just like the doctor had said, within 4 weeks he was back to normal. He was running and chasing and just having a great time. And I'm telling you this story because it's so similar to our obedience to our Father, that temptations are always there. The enemy is always trying to tempt us. It comes from all different directions. And we have the free will to chase after those temptations. Just like Ollie chased after that dog. He knew better than to do that, to go up towards the road. But he had free will, and that was his decision. And it caused him a lot of pain, it caused him a lot of suffering. But not only did it cause him pain and suffering, it caused me, his father, pain and heartache to see him go through something like that because of his decision to chase after that temptation. So I just kind of always thought about that, as how that could be a lesson for us, that temptations are always going to be there, and if we're not obedient to our Father, we're going to wind up just like my dog Ollie, in pain and suffering. And our Father is going to go through it as well, that pain and heartache. So that's maybe something that you can take along with you from this video, is when those temptations turn up and you really want to chase after one of those temptations, maybe just stop and think about my story about Ollie, and it'll save you a lot of pain and suffering.